I think too, it's people are gearing up for the end of summer, right? So getting that head start for the beginning of September, you can't, you know, you can't do that at September if you want to
Yeah,
be right there for September, right? So I
totally.
imagine those people who have a game plan or had some sort of plan in mind are now looking to action that before everyone else, right? So there's going to
Yeah,
be some people that are want to be, one step ahead
yeah,
of everyone else that's out there that's going to be thinking
yeah.
similar thoughts.
I totally agree with you on that. And I just find like it's the last coming weeks of August. So obviously, like you're saying, there's going to be some people who want to get ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
But so too, there's some people that are just like chilling for the next week, week and a half,
Yeah.
2 weeks, and then kind of getting back into routine in September, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think that we're going to have a busy September, October.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, because when is the next announcement for mortgages? That
I think it's September.
September. So many people might be gearing up, anticipating that as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Hopeful,
yeah,
hopeful
yeah,
that,
sure.
if you're looking now and kind of going through on things, then yeah. Because
Yeah.
if you get, and again, I don't know if you are familiar, or anyone else in here may be also mortgage agents. If you get approved today, and let's say mortgage rates are 4.25, and let's say it drops again down to 4, hypothetically. If you've already been approved and you purchase a property, are you having to stick to that original pre-approved, or are you getting automatically granted a lower rate on your mortgage? So it's kind of like playing the game of, I'm going to get ahead of the curve of everyone waiting for that rate drop and then start looking after that when everyone else is, or am I going to start looking now in anticipation that if it does drop, I'm going to still benefit from that drop?
For sure, exactly, and I totally agree. So, what I can tell you from this, from learning, in my 8 years of doing a lot of transactions in real estate, is to answer your question. I thought that once you get pre-approved and you purchase a property, I thought that that's your rate and you can't really do much. However, what I
Mm-hmm.
did learn is even when you purchase a property, um, let's say you can still shop until that's closed. So,
Mm-hmm.
some buyers who are very rate heavy shopping, basically, I let them know, like, let's get a commitment first from a bank, right? So if Scotiabank approves you, we're good. So then you can still shop around, and if no one beats anything, then you still have this mortgage here. In the
Mm-hmm.
event where an interest rate drops, or maybe there's two drops, depending how far you are in that mortgage, you can get a better rate. So you're
Mm-hmm.
not like married to that proposal. So
Mm-hmm.
if things change, that's where it's at. If things go higher, then you lock down a great rate. But in my
Yeah.
opinion, there's a lot of trends of everything going, more down in interest rates. I'm hearing it a lot. Um, we're just gonna have to see what happens and what the government
Yeah.
does,
Yeah.
to be
No,
honest.
absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, so I'd love to open the chat over here. So I would love to ask you guys if you are a buyer, right? And I understand that it depends on everyone's situation, right? But if you were a buyer, what two kind of quarters would be really good months for a buyer to get a better price? So the question and I'm gonna have the chat up here, or if someone wants to, raise their hand and come up. Um, if you were a buyer, regardless, whenever you need to buy and sell, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying in the timing, what quarters are really good to purchase in? So remember, we got quarter one, January, February, March. Quarter two, we have April, May, June. Quarter three, we have July, August, September. Quarter four, we have October, November, December. So which ones? The reason why I'm asking you these, because this does come in play when you're talking to buyers.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say my first guess is, the first quarter, because if you hit January, there's not a lot of people out there in January. The market's not as busy, right? But you're
Yeah,
getting January, February. So spring market technically starts February.
yeah,
And so the competition for most cases, people are waiting to that second quarter to do a lot of their transactions. So that for me, you want to stay clear of the second quarter. Personally, that's what I would think.
yeah.
Simone is saying quarter
Okay.
one and quarter three.
Okay. Any more? I'll give you guys some good timelines. Or I'll give you guys
First
another
and
30
third.
seconds. Hello. So I'll give you guys a little bit more. But these are great. And
Yeah.
honestly, everyone that's in the chat, engage because this is super great information to know. Okay. So what I would say traditionally as a buyer, regardless of a timeline, whatever, I would say quarter, second, and third are better. I'll tell you why. January is the lowest point of inventory. If you want to get the highest price for a property, you list first 2 weeks of January, right? In this business, everything is based on comps. So that means that usually, especially this year, the spring market started happening beginning of February, beginning to middle of February. No, sorry, middle of February to end of February. That's when the market went even crazier for like 2 weeks. But the reason why is because everything's based on comparables. If there's less inventory, there's still a demand with buyers. The other thing to note in January is that a lot of buyers are holding off their purchase in December, right? So in December, there's purchases happening, but a lot of people, by December 15th, the world's shut down.
Hmm.
So a lot of people are just waiting and anticipating for the first coming listings that happen in January, and everyone just goes gun ho with everything. Why I say second and third quarters because this is when the spring market and summer market happens, so there's more inventory, right? There's more inventory. So exactly like if we were in these conditions where interest rates went down twice and we are at the lowest point of inventory right now, prices would be going much higher. And
Yeah.
then next comps that come through are going to be based on the ones that just sold, right? And we are
Hmm.
in the business of recent comparables. So that's what helps price points. Now, as a buyer, you want a little bit more inventory, quarter, second, and third, because that's where, there's a little bit more time that you have as a buyer. You can go take a look at a property, maybe look at another one, and then come back to that first property. Rather, before you would need to make a decision pretty quickly.
Hmm.
And this is from my personal opinion of doing it for 8 years, and being a listing agent and what we see on our listings. So quarter one is great for a seller, right? Like those quarters are usually the best price, and this is the script. Let's list for January, first, second week of January, and this is going to be our plan. Our plan, we're going to list, we're going to sell the highest point of or the lowest point of inventory to get the highest price, and then we're going to ask for a 90-day closing. So then when February comes around and there's a little bit more inventory, then we can pull the trigger on our property and get some of a better price discount because of
Hmm.
the inventory naturally in the marketplace. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it depends on what on your clientele. I mean, to be honest with you, every month, like especially those months, January, February, I'm busy with listings and buyers. And then come July, August, like, last month, I think I did like 8 deals, 7, 8 deals. So, I mean,
Hmm.
like, it's busy. Like, it just
Can
depends,
be. Yeah, I
right?
think it really
So,
depends on, there's a lot of factors that I think play into this, and it could be year over year, right?
exactly.
It slightly shifts as to when would be the best time based on, the factors
Market
of
condition.
that market and
Yeah.
yeah, because, and and looking at prices too, and I've noticed, it's January, February, the people that wait from instead of, they're looking for more inventory. And this is like years back and just watching the listing prices going from, November, December into January, February. The price difference that if you're happy with a product that's on the market in November, December, go for that product. Don't wait, because traditionally come January, February, you're going to be paying a bit more for that same product because of just the market shift, the demand shifts, and prices go up. Historically speaking, kind of going up. It may not be significantly higher, but you're generally going to be paying more for that same product in the new year had you just purchased it rather than just purchasing it in the previous year.
Yes. So, and I agree with that. And then the other thing is too, is like we don't have any crystal balls, right?
No.
So, you know, these things are good to keep in mind when you are talking to people and when you are prospecting. These are things that you could be saying, right? Doesn't mean that you have to say them. And obviously, it depends on everyone's timeline. If someone needs to purchase now you're not telling them to wait because we don't know what the market's going to have. But statistics like based on my trends and based on what we're probably seeing in the marketplace, we can have a better idea on last year. Hey, this is when the months came a little bit better. This year
Mhm.
kind of came a little bit later, but like it happens. The markets cycles happen, right?
Mhm.
I would love to know, changing topics here. I would love to know what are you responding with when there's someone that requested a tour, want to book a tour with you guys. I would love to know how you guys are handling it and what you feel is working, or have you made any objections that's happened and kind of lost the lead? Remember, this is a safe space. We're here to just learn. But I would love to know because I would love to share what I'm doing with mine and how I'm getting them to show properties while still protecting your best interest.
Mhm.
So remember, you guys can raise your hand or come into the chat.
Yeah.
No one? You guys are quiet today. Are
I
you
don't
guys
know.
on the phone? You guys going to be on the phone?
Everyone, do you guys just typically, so here's when you have a showing request, whether it's from, there's two different types of showings. The showings from a client. Are we talking leads, somebody brand new, or are we talking somebody that you've already been?
Just anyone.
Anyone?
Let's say lead that you haven't connected with yet.
Okay. Because I know some people are hesitant. They want to get everything signed and then they end up scaring that person off.
Yeah,
Some people will be willing to go show a property. What I suggest to other individuals is, when I'm talking is, what is it like that you like about this home that makes you want to go take a look at it? If I could arrange other similar properties, would you be willing to go take a look as well, just so you have some, comparables to kind of, work against and kind of compare the properties and the features. And then it comes down to, again, the buyer rep agreements, right? So in the new rules with respect to representation and how everyone is handling that. So
exactly.
yeah, Simona, he's just asking how, what's your response when somebody requests to view a property from you? Let's say it's a brand new lead, somebody that you've never met before wants to go take a look at a home.
Are you guys ghosting them? You're not responding?
Yeah, yeah. They just ignore them.
Yeah.
It's fake lead, fake lead. No one
Right.
wants to look at a house.
Right. Okay, I'll help everyone out here. So let's say someone comes in, you haven't chatted with, and they requested a tour. So usually what I do is as soon as that comes in, you need to be super fast to it. You wait, they might be looking at someone else. So I would send an email back, just letting them know, hey, thanks so much for reaching out. I'm glad that you like at 123 Main Street. Are you available to have a quick chat so I can give you more information about the property and book a time for you to see it? You want to say something like that because that means that they're interested. Remember, their motivation is to go see the property. And they probably want to know more information about the property, to be honest with you. And more information can be, going on Geo, looking at what recently sold on the property, when it's last sold, what age it's at, the bedrooms, the bathrooms, see a past listing, hopefully there is, and then you can get a little bit more feel. And then just by doing some of your homework. So then when that person does reach out and says, hey, I'm available at X whatever time, you just say okay and you make the call. And then the call is just more so going to look essentially like, hey, hey, Crystal, thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to chat with me. How you doing? Obviously, you're trying to connect for the first little bit, and then you get right back into it. So you would just go, hey, I understand that you like 123 Main Street. I do have a little bit more information about the property, but before I go into that, is there anything that you want to know specifically? Right? Because we don't want to bore people with all the information that we have, right? It's good to know it, but then we want to know what they're looking for because
Mm-hmm.
depending on the person on the phone, we don't know if they're a D personality, meaning they just want to know what they want to know and then they're out, right? So you talking more and not really, facilitating what they need, they're not gonna they're not even listening to you when you're talking. They're thinking
Hmm.
about other things in their head.
Or they're just frustrated. They're like,
Yeah,
well, this guy just
exactly.
stopped talking. I'm like,
Right?
he's not even touching on anything I want to know. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And then you kind of go, and you kind of go from there and from that, right? So
Hmm.
generally what we would want to do is start going by, okay, yeah, you know what, Crystal, I see that you want to know what year it was built or when the last sale happened, and you want to know what the furnace, is and all that stuff, right? So, you'd be like, hey, no problem, since you've done your homework on the property. Hey, this, 123 Main Street was built in 1960, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, as you see. Other than that, they didn't really list anything about the roof and stuff, so I will definitely find out. So I'll reach out to the listing agent to give you all that information you need. But before we book a showing, just want to ask you a few things. Just so I'm not stepping on anyone's toes, are you currently working with a real estate agent? Yeah, I am. Okay, well, I can totally understand that you may have a relationship with an agent before, but if you don't mind me asking, do you have anything signed? That's what you really want to know, right?
Hmm.
No, I don't. I actually just saw this person just to go take a look at a property or two, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Okay, so no problem. So if I showed you the right opportunity, would you consider working with me? Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, perfect. So that's fine. And then the next question is, have you been pre-approved? Do you need a house to sell, right? Or anything like that? They may say, no, I'm not pre-approved, but I have, my house on 123 Third Street. It's worth $1 million. We're trying to buy something for 7. I think we'd be fine. Hey, I totally understand. I totally understand. We'll talk more about, how things can, how we can structure an offer once we know you like the property and this is the one. So no problem at all. I just want to make sure that you're not seeing things that are too much of a purchase price and then it kind of ruins that buying process. I've been doing this for a while. My goal is to make sure that you have a lot of fun and make this process as easy and stress free as possible. So I got you. Don't worry about it. So you kind of just go like that. And then the next question is obviously when do you want to go on the property? So
Hmm.
those kind of things are great.
Hmm.
I currently have one that I just did last night. The messages were very similar. It was all over the phone, so I couldn't record it because they didn't call me through that line. They called me through my direct line. So it was more so, and then the other thing that I left out that you should include in this after you find the time that you want to book with that person is, hey, what are you looking for? Are you looking for homes similar like this? Just like Crystal said earlier, I would love to send you a handpicked list of homes that I think is great. So I just want to know a little bit more of your criteria because if we could add, if we're already going out that way, if we could add, one or two other homes in our tour, I think it'd be a great thing for us to see and compare it to.
Hmm.
So, and that's a good thing too, because now you're working on the offense. You're letting them know, okay, so this person already had an agent before and has someone showing. So I need to make sure that I'm on top of everything to make sure that I show them that I'm a better agent and that I'm committed and I want to make this process fun and easy.
Hmm.
So that's the most important part. And if you start showing them opportunities that, they didn't see, then you're only creating more value for yourself as an agent and they will work for you as long as you keep up that standard.
Yeah. Well, and really, so other roundabout ways is just asking your individuals, like, have they gone to see any homes yet, or is this your first time going out to check something in person, right?
Yeah.
So that answer, if they haven't been out, and then you can confirm. So I just want to confirm you haven't signed any agreements with any other sales representatives, right? So it's kind of more of a roundabout, indirect way of, do you have an agent? Um, but also the multi-tour, the multi-home tour is, again, it's a working interview for you, right? Because not everyone's just going to go and meet someone, sign an agreement, and feel like they're bound to somebody that they don't even connect with. Whereas if you are going and you're setting up 3 different showings and you're out with them now for an hour and a half, 2, 3 hours sometimes, that's an extended working interview that you can really show and really see if you and this person even jive, right? Or if they like the
Exactly.
way that you work, right? Sometimes it works on both sides. Sometimes you're like, I do not want this buyer, and then sometimes they might, it just doesn't click, and they don't feel like you're the best person to represent them. So
Exactly.
it's works both hand in hand. But the longer you're in front of somebody, the better opportunity you can see that.
Yeah. And I just want to add to that too. I think it's really important for you yourself as an agent to have standards. And what I mean by that is like, obviously we want to make money, obviously we want to help people, obviously we want to do deals. But now, doing this for a longer period of time, and I'm sure everyone over here is the same way, like you have to have certain standards with your clients. And I think it's really good when you are talking to prospects, letting them know that you're passing, the qualifications that you would use to have you as a client. Like there's qualifications that you have to like, predefine with your clients, because you don't want to, would you take someone that has not been pre-approved and has no house to sell? Like, no, you're wasting your time, right? So that's kind of more of the entry level. And I know that once we talk with leads, we get super excited because they're ready to go see the house. That's the carrot on dangling from our face, right? So we get blinded from sometimes a red flag conversation over the phone. But what we need to know is just letting people know, hey, this is the way that I work. It sounds like we're super similar. It sounds like we would make a great team together, and I'm excited to help you find your next home or to help sell and buy your next house. It sounds like we're going to make a great team, and it sounds like we're a great fit. I mean, little things like that show that like you guys are mutually respected and that you both feel like it's a great partnership. That's how it needs to be. Because if you have clients that don't listen to you, it's more of a frustrating process than anything, to be honest with you. I've had an agent locator lead that came in that I've been working with for a bit. Finally, we're able to put an offer in, and he just ghosted me. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you're ghosting me? This is the house that you said you really liked. We've been
Yeah.
looking for at least 9 months. You didn't want to put an offer on anything. You want to put an offer on this. I had a phone conversation with you, and whoever else is on title. Everything was fine, no questions, ready to sign, ghosted. So, at that point, I'm not working with that person anymore, because now like the agent's calling me asking me what I need to do. This doesn't ever happen to me. So I feel like a new agent that like
Yeah.
can't deal with a deal. It's kind of not ruining, or it's not really ruining your reputation, but enough of these will definitely, have seller's agent like myself, if we see, you being a close
Lack of
second.
confidence. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like I don't really feel comfortable with accepting an offer. So, and then there has to be some sort of standard. Hey, if you don't want to put an offer in, no problem. Let me know, but don't let me call you. Don't let me text you. Like, I don't want to harass you. I have, other things that I need to take care of, but I need to know, you got to let me know something, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I always say to all the clients that we work with, let me know how you feel. Like, it's not me purchasing the house. If you don't want it, no problem. We move on to the next one, right? But, ideas change, things happen. And I think it's very important to have some sort of qualification process and, a communication standard.
hmm
And then, like I let go of that client. I can't work with that person. It stresses
No.
me out too much.
Yeah. Like, I'm
You
not
know?
going to stress over this. Yeah. It's not worth
Yeah.
it.
No,
It is
no.
not worth it having those problematic, and I don't know if your office does it, but I know there are offices that have it, that have the bad client list.
Yeah, right.
Does your office, do they do
I
that?
don't think we do. I'm not too
No,
sure.
I know that some out here they have it where they're just kind of like red flags. This is the red flag list. If they're a horrible buyer or sell, like people that are um just very difficult or rude or kind of like, they're not very good people when it comes to the relationship that they had with the realtor, and it kind of looked on all, it's not like they won't work with them. It's just a list there that other agents can see, so if they are going to go list or looking to buy again, they can be aware that there has been previous issues with this person and why, right? So
Yes.
that they know what's going on, because they're out
Yes.
there. They're out
No,
there,
for
right?
sure. And remember, with
Uh,
online leads, they don't know anyone, right? So you're
yeah.
dealing with someone that like doesn't really have a big circle or whatever, and they just kind of have their own personality and quirkiness, right? So we just got to keep that in mind. I'm gonna go through some of the questions over here. So, Ashdeep was just saying initial phone call asking if they're working with a realtor, and how would you handle if they say yes, if they have a realtor and they're just, looking. So, I mean, generally, like I was saying, I think the easiest script to ask someone politely that everyone feels, respectable about is just saying, hey, just so I'm not stepping on any toes, are you working with a real estate agent? Like it's just super easy. It's an easy intro. And if they say yes, then it's your point to qualify. Okay, no, I totally understand. Is this an agent that you have a relationship with? Or, is it a friend? Do you have anything signed? If they say no or it's a past agent, I wouldn't really push too much. If they're saying that, their real estate agents on vacation are not available, then I would just say, hey, well, I totally understand, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to step in and show it.
Hmm.
If I can show the property, I will have paperwork saying that you are tied to me on that property, which is totally cool. So at least this way you get to use me on this property. And if, you're not working or have anything signed with that other agent, he can't take you or she can't take you. I'd be more happy to do so. But I can tell you that, my clients, I do get someone to showcase the property for. So I don't know if you haven't asked them or if you feel that you don't want to, then I'm more than happy to do that. But like I said, we would be signing, something saying that I am tied to the property with you on.
Hmm.
So if you want to do that, I'm all good to show the property. And I think it's an easy way. You're giving someone an option of what they want to do.
Hmm.
Right? So that's there. For Simon, you get excited when you get to them sooner, general needed questions, and I find motivation for their criteria and what exactly they're looking for. I'm sure I set up the same way as agent locator and then ask them, with a certain, um, agent locator and find the best time we can connect an objective to get them to face. Yeah, I think that's great. I just tried to like, it's great that it's working for you. I also think just to add to anyone who is doing these calls is just add like try not to be awkward with it. Just remember they don't know how the process goes. So you have to like before you phone call, you got to think and framework how you're going to set up the call and how you're going to lead it, right? That is the most important thing. If you already make it awkward over the phone when you do meet them, chances are they probably don't want to work with you. It's just no one likes awkward people.
Hmm.
So, however, if you are scripted and you know the process, then I mean, do your thing and just get it done.
It really comes down to confidence in the call. So your awkwardness is going to naturally be a thing, generally speaking, when you are first getting into these conversations. But consider yourself when you're talking to somebody. You can tell when somebody just started a job and they're calling you and they're kind of not sure of what to say, and you can tell there's hesitation in their voice. There's lack of confidence on your part. Right, you're not going to go and feel very confident that this person, if it's a product, whatever it is, can best handle your needs, because there's that bit of doubt, right? There's that bit
Yes.
of doubt that this person does not know what they're doing. Now you can only gain that confidence in communicating with these leads by practicing, right?
Yes.
So it's just calling, and the more conversations that you're having, right? And it's a stranger, you can practice with friends or colleagues, but it's once you're on the phone, it's really you can only do it through trial and error and getting better at what you're saying and more confident being on the phone, or kind of if you kind of detach yourself from the outcome of the call, right? You're just calling, pretend you haven't thrown any money at this, like just totally detach yourself from it. You're a lot more
Yeah.
relaxed. You have nothing to lose, right? But we all kind of look at it, especially when we're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars doing this. There's that bit of stress that we do definitely put on ourselves, that we have to, we have to get these deals, we have to make something happen. And then that just transpires in the phone call as well. So it's practice makes perfect, and you're never going to start off knowing exactly what to say to these people. But the more you do it, you're going to definitely, they're going to hear that confidence on the end. The confidence is key for people to actually gain that confidence that you are going to, be the best person to work on their behalf.
Exactly. I totally agree with you on that. So going to Ali, congrats on firming up 4 deals. See, agent locator
Mm-hmm.
does work with the right
Mm-hmm.
systems and the right attitude. But increasing your ad spend. So it really just depends on what you want to do. So now you got some deals, you believe in the system a little bit more, you're excited. You see this as a really great pillar to start making hundreds of thousands of GCI. Great. What I would do is it's up to you on how you could do it and manage those leads. I would do it. I would just, so let's say if your ad budget is $500 now, I would go up to $1,000 a month. Or if you feel like you want more, $1,500.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, this ad change can be different. So this is what I would do if I wanted to be smart with my budget. It's August right now. People are going to be looking for maybe the next 2 months. Maybe I just do like, you know, if my budget's 500, maybe I do $1,500 for those 2 months just to get as many leads as possible, knowing that I'm not going to connect with all of them. But by October, I can bring it down to like, 750 because you still want leads coming in, but now you have a big hump of leads that I think the search, that, within the next 60 days, you're going to get a lot more, leads getting captured because they're going to see some properties that they like. And if interest rates does go down one more time, there's going to be a little bit more search criterias, right? Like more search being up. So, that's what I would do. And that's it.
Yeah, it's kind of ramp it up when you know that there's going to be a surge, and then you can always tailor it back. But we also want to make sure we're only biting as much as we can chew, right? So there's no point
Exactly.
in generating all these leads if we're just going to stuff them in our cheeks to like a squirrel and not do anything with them, right? So
Exactly.
we have to make sure that, if we are ramping it up and we're doing it like that, kind of, based on market, that we're still managing the leads that we're generating, because it's just a waste of money if we're just kind of generating them, just not doing anything with them.
I totally agree with you. So that's pretty much it. Obviously, it's at your own kind of speed. But that's it,
Mm-hmm.
the good thing is even if you don't connect with them, the good thing is that they create their own search criteria so that, for one of the people that came in, I haven't done my calls, so that's on me. However,
Mm-hmm.
with my campaign templates, basically what has happened is they've reached out and they want to go see properties. So as long as you have something working in the background,
Mm-hmm.
it's still okay because they're still getting something of value because they've set themselves up on a list. Yeah, most of the time they're not doing it right, but at least if you do get the ones that do, then it's a little bit easier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would do tag marketing. That's what I do. Have I think tag marketing is really good just because when people leave your website, they now see you in other stuff. So it's actually hilarious
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of my clients who become, agent locator leads to, one of my clients, they say, Nick, it's hilarious. I'm playing video games and I see your ad pop up.
Mm-hmm.
You're always top of mind. So when they're thinking about a property, that's kind of what we should do.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And really, it's the tag marketing is great because it's not even just for the leads that are coming to your website. For anyone that does door knocking, that leaves flyers, that does the postal drops and things like that. Anyone that goes to your website is tagged. Right. So the
Yes,
more people that you get on your website, regardless of how they get there, they're seeing your ad for 90 days. It's going to continue to pop up for them. So that now one marketing material could potentially last, or benefit you for the next 3 months.
right.
So, start using QR codes as well. Like I find like people are more likely to scan a QR code than type in a URL.
Yeah,
It's just easy. It's just easy, right? So benefit from that. You can watch to see, so those QR codes that go to your site, they're now tagged by scanning it. It's a great benefit. And some of those you can do free QR codes through Google. Got a little dinosaur on them, but hey, if you don't want to spend money, that's your way. But also, like some of those QR code companies, or probably a lot of them, have analytics. So if you're doing, and you can create different QR codes for different purposes, could lead to the same location, but it'll allow you to track then which marketing efforts are actually working and where people are signing. So if I go door knock and I leave it in this neighborhood, how many people scan that QR code, versus if I'm doing postal walks and dropping in the same neighborhood, how many people are scanning, and doing different things like that. So it allows you to really see where those, your marketing efforts are actually working.
exactly. And I think that's the really good thing, right? So, you know, I think that what's really good in terms of, really helping a lead get from the beginning to the finish line is more so of just making sure that we can find through text or anything, just like what they're searching for. Because if
Mm-hmm.
we can show them what they want, then I think it's super easy.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be value there, right? So,
Yeah.
um, to go answer Ali's question, no, I haven't really reviewed the reports of the tag marketing. I mean, I trust agent locators going to do their thing, and you know,
And you can see it too. So it's just brand recognition. You're not going to generate leads off of it in most cases. You can. I'm not saying you're not, because of the fact that these people have come to your website before. They may not have signed up the first time, but they may
yeah,
sign up the second time around that they come to your website by clicking on that ad. But it's not meant as lead generation. But you can, it's really, our team can send you the report on how many impressions, like how many people go in, how many people actually click on the ads, things like that, right? So
yes,
it's a great thing as well, because if you're doing buyer ads, let's say you can have your tag marketing focused on sellers, right?
yes,
So driving them so that they click into a home worth or a street match landing page, right? Um, so there's all different ways that you can utilize it, but it does. It's really more for brand recognition. You will
yeah,
get clicks through back to your website, but we all
yeah,
know it's the branding, right? The
yes,
more people see you and your brand, the more likely they're going to remember it and give you a call or go to your website or whatever it is, right? So,
yes. I totally agree with you. And I think the good thing is when you have a good call with your leads, you're top of mind. So they become
mhm,
like more easier and kind of make up their mind that they're already going to be using you,
yeah,
which
connected.
is great.
They
Yeah.
already feel like they know who you are.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Now, if you don't mind me asking, any other objections that anyone else is getting on these calls? Where do you feel like your pain point happens? I need you guys to,
anyone?
I know, I need you guys to like be here.
Mhm. Just browsing. That's normal, yeah.
Yeah, just browsing. And then I think like, that's totally cool. And I think it's more so of just like being more defined and being intentional with it. So just like, hey, yeah, I totally understand. What are you looking for?
Hmm.
Oh, I'm not too sure. Well, let me ask you a question. If you close your eyes right now and you picture the perfect house that you want to be in, what does that look like?
Hmm.
You know, just getting them in that phase. Okay, well, like if you did find that perfect house, when did you want to move by? So I
Hmm.
think like there's just a lot of great openings that we can use. I just think that we need to be, more scripted to make sure that we can try to open the lead as big as
Yeah.
possible.
And really, the just browsing is such a very blanket response, right? Because there's always motivation behind the browse, right? We need to figure out what the motivation is for that individual person. Because some people are browsing with full intentions of making a purchase within the next few months,
100%.
right? But if we don't ask the right questions, we're just going to kick them to the side, be like, oh, tire kicker, they're just browsing, right? So it's really figuring out for each individual, like, and acknowledging to them, and acknowledging that just looking is okay. You're okay with that, and you have to be okay with that because the majority of your leads are just browsing, right? So
Yes.
taking the pressure off of the lead and letting them know that just browsing is absolutely okay. We're able to find what you're looking for on the website. How long have you been looking for? If
Right.
you were to find the perfect house, what would that look like? I want to make sure I can see I'm sending you some listings. I want to make sure I'm sending you the listings that you want to be receiving, right?
Yes.
So once you take that pressure off, you'll be amazed at how much people talk.
Exactly.
They're anticipating you're just going to sell them something. That's why they're just browsing,
Yes.
right? So take the pressure off and you'll see how, like, be okay with the fact that they're just browsing, and take that pressure off, and you'll see that they'll just open up in conversation and tell you a lot more than if you kind of just went with that just browsing and went from the sale, I'm going to sell you something standpoint.
Yes. I agree with you. And like it's just like really vibing with people. I'm telling you, like having just a conversation goes such a far way. Sorry, I can't even
Mm-hmm.
speak anymore. Goes such a far way that like honestly, everyone should be doing it. Just like vibing with people. Remember, like people want to know what they want, but remember, people buy from people. So if you make people feel great, if you don't make them feel awkward, if you
Mm-hmm.
make the process easier, if you're very knowledgeable, if you can guide them through the real estate market, I mean, this is all people want.
Yeah.
The scariest part is making like is A, finding a home, B, getting the best price for your house, and C, like the process. People are
Mm-hmm.
scared. Remember, we do this all the time that we forget how big this is and how it is really big for some other people.
Yeah, it really depends on the individual and how well they handle stuff,
Exactly.
right? So some it's like super, and no one really like. Some people love moving, like they let the whole process of it. Most people don't. It is a big undertaking, a massive undertaking. So especially when you're having to list your house and then buy, because all the
Yes.
preparation that goes into just getting your house ready to sell, and the stress that comes with that, and wondering what every buyer thinks, and stressing about every fine detail, and then making sure that that goes through, closing goes fine, then buying your next house, then you're doing it all again, right? But now you're on the buying side. It is a very stressful process for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so that's why a lot of these people sit on the fence for so long. You got to remember that it's they
Exactly.
know, and they see it as a huge undertaking, and so they put it off as long as they can for many of these people, right? So we have to make it exciting, give them a reason to want to move, and then how
Yeah.
it's going to be so much easier, and this is
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. And that's the great part too. Like, one of my agent locator leads that I had in 2021 that closed, that person just messaged me yesterday saying, "Hey Nick, I'm ready to sell."
Mm-hmm.
And how did I keep in touch? Birthday cards, happy anniversary cards, and all that kind of stuff. And like
Mm-hmm.
touch base with them here and there. But this is great. Now it's like there's another, if you make it fun and you have a great experience, people will think of real estate, they'll think of their rep, and they'll reach out to them if you do a great job out of it. So, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Agent Locator is really great because you're building your network and your database, and as you grow that database over the years and you do it correctly, people now will just come back and use you or refer you, right? So there's a lot of power for that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I know I can see some people dropping off a little bit. I mean, if you guys have any other questions, I mean, I'd be happy to answer them. Um, you know, so whatever you guys need. But obviously the hardest part is just calling these leads, but once you get into the groove of calling and having conversations, it's easy.
Mm-hmm. It is, and it's just dedication to it. That's all.
Just work.
We're gonna have, and yeah, it's working. If you're not having any deals, a lot of people say I'm struggling, I'm not doing anything. Well, are you working 8 hours a day right now? Are you legitimately working in your business 8 hours a day? Because if you're not, that's why you're not getting any deals.
Exactly.
So if you actually went and treated this, whether it's calling your leads, door knock, whatever it is, if you're legitimately working it as if it's a full-time job, you will see the deals. They're not
Exactly.
just going to fall into our laps, unfortunately. It would be amazing if all of them did. Some do, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Some fall
Yeah.
into our laps, but a lot of it is work and perseverance. So as long if
Yeah.
you're not having a client in front of you, you should be working to get a client in front of you.
Yep.
And it's that self, it's accountability on yourself. It's you
Yeah.
have to do it, and it's hard. It can be difficult for a lot of people to keep that self accountability, to ensure that you are working every single day. And again, if no one in front of you, you got to work to get someone in front of you.
Exactly. Exactly. And that's really it. Next class, I'll have some calls ready.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you guys can go through a few. Hopefully I'll have some other ones that not just so the intro call. Hopefully I can get some other ones
Mm-hmm.
just talking about the lead, showing relationships, having great questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's pretty much it.
Perfect. Anyone have any questions or insight or anything that you want to add before we can bounce? We can head this a little bit early. I know you guys have some leads to call. But if there's any questions, now's your time to ask. Otherwise, we're going to drop off here and have a shorter session today.
Yes,
If you guys have a question that you're typing, just raise your hand so we know that you're typing it.
exactly.
So we're not like going to cut you off.
Perfect.
No, it doesn't look like it. Awesome.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
thanks, you guys. We'll see
Thank
you
you.
next
Take care,
time,
guys.
and enjoy the rest of your day. Happy calling.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.